I am very grateful for the smooth completion of our ground service at mission headquarters in America. After completing the termite tenting and the repair of the upper dais of our sanctuary over the past month, we conducted enshrinement ceremony 2 days ago and the enshrinement service yesterday. I would like to thank so many people, especially those who participate in the enshrinement ceremony and service. As you know, the pandemic is still ongoing, making it difficult for us to gather for our services. Unfortunately, for a bit longer, I must ask you to refrain from attending our mission headquarters services and other events. I know that this is very painful for everyone, but I believe that there is God's planned intention in all occurrences. So I ask for your continued patience. Today, I would like to give a few of my thoughts for today's sermon. I ask for your kind attention. As you know, this month is related to the day of origin of our faith. On the 26th of this month, the Autumn Grand Service will be held at church headquarters to commemorate the day of founding of our faith. In addition, we just held our Autumn Grand Service receiving this truth. Tenrikyo was established to save all people in the world, as expressed by God the Parent's first words to us, quote, "I have descended here to save all humankind," unquote. In other words, our purpose in life is to realize a joyous life, a world in which God the Parent and humankind dwell in perfect union. In order to realize the joyous life, we need to spread these teachings to all our brothers and sisters in the world. As one means to achieve that, on January 26, 1934, it was decided at church headquarters that our mission headquarters in America would be set up here. And then our 90th year will be in 2024, which is less than 3 years from now. As we already have announced, we will be celebrating our 90th anniversary on June 30, 2024, with the attendance of the Shinbashira. Our 3-year, 1,000-day activity period for the anniversary service has already begun. Although it was a bit late, we have set our 90th anniversary slogan and the goals for spiritual maturity, which was announced recently. So today, I want to share them with you, and I would like for us to use them as we spiritedly progress with our minds united towards our 90th anniversary. Let us bring joy to God the Parent, Oya-sama, and the Shinbashira on the occasion of our anniversary. Let me introduce our 90th anniversary slogan and the goals for spiritual maturity. Our slogan is, quote, "Share our joy of faith with our family, friends, and communities," unquote. We have 3 main goals for spiritual maturity, and each goal has 3 sub-goals. Our first goal for spiritual maturity is, quote, "Let's always perform the service wholeheartedly," unquote. And its 3 sub-goals are, quote, 1, pray to God the Parent for those in our community through the service. 2, welcome our community to the service to share our joy of faith. And 3, spiritually grow together through the service, unquote. Our second goal for spiritual maturity is, quote, let's perform hinokushin with joy and gratitude every day, unquote. And its three sub-goals are, quote, 1. Identify and initiate collective hinokushin activities that most positively impact our communities. 2. Foster the positive spirit of hinokushin. And 3. Reflect our spirit of hinokushin to others in our communities, unquote. And third goal for spiritual maturity is, quote, let's work for the salvation of others, unquote. And its three sub-goals are, quote, 1. Reach out to people in our community to understand their needs. 2. Nurture and guide them with our joyous teachings using our unique qualities. And 3. Bring them to our places of worship to share our true joy, unquote. First of all, I would like to say that the purpose of having a slogan or goals for spiritual maturity is to promote the spiritual growth of all followers within our diocese as we progress towards our 90th anniversary. Otherwise, our slogan and goals would not be as meaningful. Our 90th anniversary is a once-in-a-decade season for our spiritual growth. The anniversary services are celebrated once every 10 years, and the third 3-year 1,000-day activity periods are the ideal opportunity to accelerate our spiritual growth and to heighten our faith. The anniversaries give us a chance to see how much we have grown spiritually, either during this 3-year 1,000-day period, or during our life of faith up until that point. Next, I would like to mention that there is an underlying theme that served as a backbone or framework in the creation of our slogan and the goal for spiritual maturity. Although it is not stated anywhere specifically, the underlying theme for our 90th anniversary is cultivating and nurturing future generations. Let me explain a little. We are not able to raise people in mechanical or uniform ways. Each person has their own innate traits and temperament, etc. That is to say, their personalities are different. Also, even in the case of a parent and child or siblings, although they are somewhat similar, their causalities are never exactly the same. Further, the rate of spiritual growth is also never the same. Therefore, it goes without saying that if we want to nurture people, we must be conscious to nurture them in ways that befit each individual. In Japan, there are craftsmen who are experts in the art of lacquering. When applying lacquer, there are various important factors such as the weather, meaning temperature and humidity. Therefore, the craftsman will adjust and apply lacquer to suit the weather at that time of the day. Although it may seem like they are lacquering in the same way, depending on the weather, if it is raining, cloudy, or sunny, the condition of the lacquer itself changes. So only after understanding the condition of the lacquer do the craftsman adjust and apply it appropriately. then and only then can wonderful records, bowls, and containers be made. This nuance is included in the term cultivating and nurturing future generations. This term emphasizes the importance of carefully nurturing people by trying to understand their individual causalities, traits, and the progress of their spiritual growth. The idea of cultivating and nurturing future generation is the framework, and that our slogan and our goals for spiritual maturity are what completes and gives form to this framework. In order for us to work hard on cultivating and nurturing future generations, it is vital that we ourselves grow spiritually. Without this, the significance of cultivating and nurturing future generations would be less. In order for the people around us to grow spiritually, I think that we ourselves also need to mature spiritually. I believe that the message of our slogan is clear and understandable. It is not complicated. Quote, share our joy of faith with our family, friends, and communities, unquote. The point that I want to confirm here is, in order to share our joy of faith, we must first firmly settle the teaching of Tenrikyo in our hearts and minds. Further, it is not enough to merely settle the teaching in our minds. Our faith needs to bring with joy. Clearly, is it not possible to share your joy with others if you yourself have none? So, let us once more take an honest look at our own faith in Tenrikyo and ask ourselves, is my faith filled with a joyous and spirited mind each day? Am I actually practicing Oyasama's teachings? And am I using my mind in dusty ways? In other words, let us first reconsider our own faith. Let's start from there. Our slogan says, with our family, friends, and communities. But in simple terms, this refers those around us who may not yet follow our faith. However, this does actually include people who may already be considered Tenrikyo. In other words, it means everyone in the whole world. In order to share our joy of faith with others, of course, we need to impart the fragrance of Oyasama's teachings and to do salvation work. You do not have to do anything difficult. But at the very least, let us convey the teaching of Tenrikyo. I am asking all of us to make this effort to convey to others that if we practice Oyasama's teachings, we can all spiritedly spend each day filled with joy. Let us make this effort. As I mentioned earlier, our goals for spiritual maturity can broadly be divided into the three categories of service, hinokishin, and salvation work. These are three cornerstones of our goals for spiritual maturity. I believe that the message of our goal for spiritual maturity is clear and understandable. We are not resolving ourselves to do anything difficult. We are merely stating that what we, as Oyasama's followers, should already be keeping in mind For each of our three main goals for spiritual maturity, we have added three specific sub-goals for each goal. They specifically indicate what we should keep in mind, what we should do, and what kind of outreach effort we should make to achieve each of our goals. Each sub-goal is numbered 1, 2, and 3. Please recognize that this order is related to the stages of our spiritual growth. Let us be aware of this and place emphasis on this order. In other words, these sub-goals are not separate nor independent. They are interconnected. For example, in the case of a goal for spiritual maturity regarding the service, quote, let's always perform the service wholeheartedly, unquote. Think about your current stage of faith for the sub-goals of 1, 2, 3. If you think that your level of faith already at the level 1, which is, quote, 1, pray to God the Parent for those in your community through the service, unquote. Then, next aim for and implement level 2, which is, quote, 2, welcome our community to the service to share our joy of faith, unquote. And if you are already at the level 2, then aim for and implement level 3, which is, quote, 3, spiritual growth together through the service, unquote. I would like us to be able to interpret our goals and sub-goals in this way. Regarding these three specific sub-goals of Hinokishin and the salvation work, similar to what I have just described, there again is a specific sequences of 1, 2, and 3. It shows the stage of our spiritual growth. I again ask you to understand that these sub-goals, 1, 2, 3, are interconnected in this order. The word community comes out many times in our slogan and the goals. Please allow me to reconfirm my understanding on this point. Our slogan says family and friends and then communities. However, in our goals for spiritual maturity, the word community is inclusive of our family and friends. The Director-in-Chief of Administrative Affairs, Reverend Zensuke Nakata, was interviewed by the head of the church headquarters missionary department earlier this year. Reverend Nakata stated as follows, quote, from the viewpoint of making contact with people in need, I mentioned that it would be fine for us to participate in social welfare activities, but that there are clear differences between the goals of social welfare versus our goals for salvation work. I believe that social welfare activities aim to help people with their immediate difficulties to integrate them into society and for them to become independent. Our salvation work may begin in the same manner, which is to say, we make effort to help people free themselves of their immediate difficulties, pain, worries, and sufferings. However, we are doing this with the belief that this will help them embark on their path to true salvation, unquote. Yes, it is important for us to make contact with our communities through our our outreach activities. However, just doing good works is not our ultimate goal. We followers of Tenrikyo must go beyond mere volunteer work and connect those activities with our salvation work. It is not just about participating in community activities or working with them. Let us be clear. Our activities within the communities are actually contact points or windows of opportunity to connect with people to have the chance to impart the fragrance of Oyasama's teaching and to do salvation work. If we are mistaken on this point, our activities can become mere volunteer work and not the Hinokishin and the salvation work that we are aiming for. Even if others may view our efforts as volunteer work, we must always have the attitude of Hinokishin. Even if we do the same activities in our heart, we must always maintain our gratitude for being kept alive by God the Parent. In other words, even while connecting with our communities, we must keep an attitude of Hinokishin and the spirit of salvation work in our heart. Our goal is the joyous life. Our aim is to promote activities towards this goal. So, please keep in mind that merely participating in community activity is not sufficient. Let us always keep in mind that the true salvation work comes after those community activities, and that God the Parent's ultimate aim is to save all humankind. As I mentioned earlier, the purpose of our activities and events is to realize the joyous life. We aim for the salvation of all people in the world, either directly or indirectly, to achieve the joyous life together with them. Through our activities, we want people to know our teachings, to understand God the Parent's intention, and to settle it in their heart. Then, maybe someday, they can become yoboku, useful timber, and work together with us for the realization of the joyous life. At the same time, I believe that we are doing our activities for our own individual and collective spiritual growth. We are taught that spiritual growth is to get ever closer to God the Parent's intention, which is expressed in God's first words on the day of the founding of our faith. Quote, "I have descended here to save all humankind." Unquote. Let us settle our slogan and go for spiritual maturity in our heart. And as I mentioned at the beginning, let us join hands with all our friends in this diocese of America and Canada and spiritedly walk along this joyous path toward our 90th anniversary. Further, for the anniversary service, let us demonstrate our spiritual growth and bring joy to God the Parent, Oyasama, and Shinbashira. This 3-year, 1,000 days activity period leading up to our 90th anniversary is our season for spiritual growth, to make a leap forward to our faith. It is also the season to spread this teaching to those unknowing of Tenrikyo more than ever, and to aim for our spiritual growth together with them. With this in mind, let each of us be spirited day by day, even in the middle of the pandemic. I thank you in advance for your effort. I thank you for your kind attention.